to this demo of the Technology Licensing Office's Faculty and Staff portal. Today, I'll be showing you all of the features in the portal, what you're able to see, and what you'll be able to do. So let's jump in. So this is the login page. For anyone with a unit who's an active employee of the university or actively affiliated with the university, you can click University of Utah SSO to log in with your University of Utah credentials. For anyone else who may need to disclose to our office, you can request a login by emailing this person right here, and then we'll get you set up with a username and password so that you can log in that way. So I'll go ahead and show you what you'll see once you've logged in. So this is the homepage of the faculty and staff portal. There are a bunch of tabs across the top up here where you can navigate, and you can also navigate to a couple different pages down here as well. Some of the features that are part of the faculty and staff portal include submitting an agreement request to our office, which I'll go into later, submitting a new invention disclosure to our office, and viewing any submissions of invention disclosures, any agreement requests that you've submitted, any agreements that are related to you or your intellectual property and technologies, any intellectual property related to your invention disclosures, any grants related to your invention disclosures. And if you run into any issues, you can report an issue through this report an issue page. So we'll go ahead and jump in from going left to right. So first we'll look at submitting an agreement request. So this is a fairly new addition to our portal, so it may be a little bit unfamiliar at first, but it's very similar to what the form was before. First, you'll select what kind of agreement you're requesting. For this demo, I'll choose a CDA. And then you hit confirm. And then you'll be routed to this page, which will show you the case number of this case that you just created. Case is a fancy word in our office for agreement request, so they're the same thing. Don't worry about that. And then as you go through this form, you'll see these red asterisks, which indicate required questions. So you'll fill these in. And once you've filled in all of this information, you'll be able to add your other party information. And then once you've added another party, you'll be able to submit your agreement request. If you need to upload any files during your submission, you can come to this tab right here and upload them here. As soon as you've uploaded a file, it will show right in this upload box. So there it is, and I could add more files if I wanted to. And then once this status becomes agreement created, you can see any agreements that are related to your agreement request on this page. So since this case or agreement request was just created, there aren't any agreements showing here yet, but once there are, then they'll show up right here. You could also view them through this agreement requests and agreements tab, which I'll show you more in a moment. So now that I've created this agreement request, I can resume it at any time by going to the agreement request tab. So clicking on the agreement request tab, I'm taken to this view, and sure enough, there's the case I just created. So I can come back at any time to fill out this information, look at the questions, get an understanding of what questions I'm going to need to answer when I fill out the form, and then go through the process of adding another party and submitting the request. Once the request is submitted, it'll have a submitted date, and that's how you'll know that you submitted that request and it's gone to our team for processing. Similarly, if there were any agreements that were related to this case specifically, You could view them in this tab, as I described before, or you could go to this agreements page. This agreements page will show you any agreements that are related to any of your technologies, or if you're listed as the internal investigator on the agreement. Also, if you submitted the agreement request, you'll be able to see those agreements as well. Now that I've demoed submitting an agreement request, I'll demo submitting a new invention disclosure. So you'll come to this page, you'll enter a tech title and then a category. I already have an invention disclosure submission in the works, so I'm going to go ahead over to this invention disclosure submission tab and click on in progress to see my in progress invention disclosure submissions. I'll click on this open submission that I have yet to submit, and I'll see this form with all of the information that I input before when I was last working on this form. So looks like I've already completed these sections, but I'll go ahead and click on each one so you get a sense of how to navigate through this form. So you'll need to click on each of these sections to go through the required information. You can also upload any files here, and once you do, they'll show on this Files tab. The next step is to add any grants. And if there weren't any grants, you'll also have an option to select no funding involved, and then proceed to the next step. So I've already added a grant. If I needed to edit it, I could select it and then hit edit, and then add more information as needed. Then the next step is to add inventors. There must be at least one University of Utah inventor to submit. Here I've already added a non-university inventor, so I'll go ahead and add a University of Utah inventor. I'm going to designate them as the lead inventor and say they're not a student, but they are an employee, and their department is Pivot Center. I'm going to select that their unit is unknown because I'm not quite sure what their unit is, mainly because it's a test record, but that's okay. So if you select unit unknown, you don't have to enter a unit for someone. But if you do know their unit, we love that information, of course. And then I'm just going to put in a test email because I don't want this going to anybody. All right, and then I add the inventor. And that completes that step. And I'll indicate that Bob's contribution to the invention was 100%. So now it's updated to 200, so we'll go to step 4. Step 4 is where we add any other institutions that may have had a hand in this invention disclosure. This is for the purpose of IIAs and things like that. So I'm going to edit Babitha's contribution to this disclosure so that it's 50%. All right, now that the total contribution matches 100% and Babitha got some credit, we're ready to complete step 4. Now that all steps are complete, I can go ahead and hit submit. And then I'll be able to enter any times I'm available to meet with the team to discuss the invention disclosure and finalize any information and make sure it's all correct about the invention. So I'm not going to fill this part out, but once you fill this part and provide it at least 3 times, you'll be able to hit next. You'll get a success screen and your invention disclosure will have been successfully submitted. Now, if I had finished the submission process, I'd be able to go to this tab with the submitted invention disclosures, and I'd be able to see it listed right here. Then for any approved invention disclosures that have been reviewed by the team, I'm able to go to the approved page and view them right here. On the invention disclosure page, you can view any inventors that were involved, any grants related, and any intellectual property related to this particular invention disclosure. Additionally, you can see where this disclosure is in the assessment process of the office, including an estimated completion date and when the resultant document set has been sent out to you. So now that I've shown you both submitting an agreement request and submitting a new invention disclosure, we'll go more in depth into what information you can see within the portal. So of course, you can see any invention disclosures that are in our system. You can also see any inventors that are in our system and the information that was submitted about them. You can also see information about the grants related to the invention disclosures. And you can see any intellectual property. You can also view these records in more of an aggregate view by viewing either the intellectual property or the grants pages or the invention disclosure page. For agreements, it's very similar. You can view any agreements that you've been listed on as either the internal investigator or the submitter, or if you have an invention disclosure that's part of that agreement, you'll be able to see all of those agreements. And you'll be able to see the status, the estimated completion date, which is usually 60 days from submission, the type, the related account, and any agreement technologies that are part of this agreement. So my invention disclosure U6688 is part of this agreement, and so I'm able to see it. And then finally, if there are any issues while you're using the portal, or if any information you see is incorrect, you can feel free to reach out to our team via email if you have a close contact with our team. Otherwise, you can fill out what the issue is here and then click submit, and our team will be alerted that way. So thank you for attending this demo today, and feel free to reach out to the team with any questions or concerns. Thank you.